Hello boys and girls, my name is White Rhino PSO, and today I am playing more Duskers. So, the game did give me a suggestion of going to the modification screen for some reason, maybe just because I had some scrap available to use, but there's nothing I really want to use it on. So instead, I'm going to pop over to drone config, and I'm going to pop the probe off of Ethan in order to put it on Orson. So this way, each of the three drones only has two things on it. You don't really need to drop a probe closer to the front line of exploration as opposed to somewhere far away. And Ethan is kind of my go-to drone for towing other things back or interfacing with the ship itself, which we actually haven't seen yet because the previous ship had no console on it. So the Calamity Jane has been visited. My options now are the Durga, which has I believe they all have one infestation type in this first system. I did set it so that anytime I reset the game, the initial system will be a little bit easier, just so that I'm not coming to a brick wall of progression and then having the game start me off in a system that has a ridiculous number of infestations per ship. So, the Monitor, the Durga, or the Ambassador. I think I'll just go to the Durga, because they're all pretty much the same right now. It's just a salvage, government, or a barge. Actually, no, I'm going to go to the Monitor because the salvage type C might have more scrap on board. It's 11 cycles old. Distance is 2. That just shows I'm going to be using 2 propulsion fuel to get there. And it has a maximum scrap capacity of 35. So travel to it, which you hit enter or just T. And then B to board. And okay, when you're selected over on the ship itself, you can hit enter to board, but if you're over here, you're using enter to change loadout, so it tells you to hit space to board. Alright, inconclusive scanning. This time there is an infestation type. I don't really know the particulars on all of them yet. I remember one was a sort of creeping fungus kind of a thing. I think one was some sort of insectoid thing that would leap at you, and then another one was some sort of an angry robot. The hold says it has random junk, and the directive of the ship was potentially illicit. Sadly, all the communications were corrupted, so there's nothing interesting to read beforehand. Alright, this is our first actual dangerous ship. But, like I said, usually, from what I hear, the first rooms are always going to be safe. This room has some scrap, so I'll gather that while I'm here. This is a very large room. So I've got D4, D9, a generator point, which I'm going to put Orson, R2, and then tell him to generate. And while Orson's doing that, I'll pop over to this room. There's another generator point. Now, it looks like there's rooms 4, 5, and 3. So I'm going to navigate 1 back to R2. I suppose I don't really need to close D10, but I will for safety. But now, nope, not MOAT, motion. So now you can see room 5 has something in it. Sadly, having motion sensor on Brendan means that if I find scrap in room 4, navigate 3 to R4. If I find any scrap in room 4, I'm going to have to... Yeah, as you can see, the drones are a little derpy. They'll get stuck on each other. So there's something dangerous going on in room 5. And yes, this does have some scrap and some energy. but okay, that makes sense. I can close, well, close D4 for now. I can open door 8 because I know the only thing in room 3 is another generator point. There we go. That just shows how the motion sensor works. So I opened up D8, and then whatever the infestation, or whatever the enemy was, moved from 5 to 3, and now room 5 is safe to enter. That only works on enemies that move from room to room. Now we have good news. Info. Vinny is damaged but not destroyed. And on him, he has a mine layer that drops a proximity mine, which I believe also damages anything in the room when it goes off. And he also has a second generator upgrade. So we can tell tow, just like generator and motion and gather, it will understand which of the drones I mean. So now drone 3 is towing Vinny, so I can navigate 3 back to room 1. And now Ethan is towing Vinny back to my my landing craft. In fact, I want to tow him way into the back. Tow to stop towing him. And now I can D4... not move. Navigate Brendan to room 4, gather all. So the motion sensor ends up turning off, but now Brendan is picking up fuel and scrap. I got another propulsion fuel, which I think that means now I have a maximum of 7 propulsion fuel. And like I said, that will go back to 7 each time I enter a new system. I may be wrong about that, though. Alright, so... Let me navigate him, drone 1 to room 5, and then have him turn on the motion sensor, because I know there's something bad in 3, but now it's showing me that whatever is past doors 3 and 7 is safe. So put you into there. I can probably get away with exploring the rest of this ship without needing that generator access point. Sometimes it is always good to close doors behind you for safety's sake. Another piece of scrap. Another piece of scrap, and no enemies. Okay, so, like the game is telling me now, you can actually change which place your ship is docked at. So now I can tell my little landing craft to dock over at airlock number 2. And D9, so now I can navigate 2 to R1, navigate 3, actually no, I can put all that together. Navigate 2 and 3 to room 1, which is my landing craft, and navigate Brendan to R6, gather all. Oh. There we go. Drones will generally also remember what they were told to do navigation-wise. As you can see, 2 and 3 couldn't get to room 1. If you type end, like I was saying before, there's like macros in the game. I believe end is a built-in one, which just tells all of your drones to go back to the initial room. And I like closing the airlock myself. But yeah, like, so drone 2 and 3 wanted to go to the landing craft, but couldn't because I hadn't opened the airlock yet. And then exit to leave the ship. So it shows that I got 1 propulsion fuel and 6 more scrap, which puts me up to 12, and 2 days survived. Each time you visit a ship, that's considered 1 day. I also picked up Vinny, who has a mine and a generator on him. So over in drone config, he has 0 hit points, and I'm going to drop his 2 things. The stuff you find on drones on other ships is generally damaged. Like, the mine layer here has been used twice and has a failure probability of 9.22. When a thing fails, I believe it fails for the entirety of the mission that you're on. So, like, if the motion sensor failed, then I just wouldn't be able to use that on that particular mission, and then it may be usable in others, or I may be forced to repair it after that. And the generator's been used 4 times with a 4.23%. In fact, the failure percentage of that generator is less. So what I'm going to do is swap in the new shitty generator onto Orson so that these early missions will be easier, and so I don't have to worry so much about things failing. Now, I also want to go to modifications, and I'm going to repair him by 10 hit points just so I have a 4th drone available. And the way this works is you put a bunch of different commands into the, I guess, engineering queue, and then hit E to execute, and it will do them all. So now I've got 4 drones, Brendan, Orson, and Ethan as my go-to team, and Vinny as backup in case I need him. Anything greater than 0 hit points means that you're safe to go into a mission. So thankfully, I also have 4 propulsion, which means I can visit both of the remaining ships. For the hell of it, I'm going to go with Durga, the Barge Class B. It is stable, 1 infestation, 50 scrap capacity. And let's see what she has to offer. Accessing records. As before, no uncorrupted communications. Its directive was equipment transfer, had a crew of 3, and its hold was filled with finished goods. So there may or may not be any scrap for me to collect here. For whatever reason, it put my drones into reverse order on the landing craft. So room number 1, door 15. As you can see, these ships can get pretty friggin' massive. Alright, so navigate to R2 and generate. And then Brendan's going to continue on. There's another generator in here, but no... Ooh. There is a drone in that next room. What I'm going to do, though... So that generator is powering rooms 4 and 5. So what I'm going to do is pop over here and motion scan. Ah, room 5 has an issue. So navigate 3 to R2, and while that's happening, I'll pop open... Oh, also you can see now room 3, it says, is inconclusive, even though technically I went in there and there's nothing in there. I'm not sure if I can get away with avoiding the generator in room 3, so instead I'm going to check out this room. Okay, that scared me a little. That is one of those turrets. I'm not... Give me some info. There's a ship defense done by terminals and a remote power ship upgrade. I'm hoping... Okay, good. So navigate 3 back to R1. Whew. D9. Now that turret was moving, so it should be active. So ship upgrades you find on those little pedestal kind of things, tow, and you have to drag them into your ship to end up using them as well. So that turret was active but not shooting at me, which is very surprising. So I'm wondering, will it kill whatever comes from room 5? assuming something comes from room 5. Open door 8 to try and herd any enemies out of it and into scannable rooms. Where's door 8? Oh, it's giving me an option because it says room 3 is inconclusive. So it's saying that, hey, if you open door 8, then something might go from room 3 to room 5. But instead, I know that that room is at least temporarily safe. So there's an access terminal here. And a fuel point. So now I can interface, and my options are a ship scan, defense, which either turns on or off the turret, surveying the ship, and interface list, which is the same list I'm doing. So what does ship scan tell me? Ship scan is a way to, I guess, double check if there are things in rooms. Like, room 2 didn't have any scrap, but now it does. Same with room 5. Okay, so moving turrets are fine, but when you turn them on and they turn red, then they're bad. So, whatever was in room 4 is now dead. And it's got scrap too. It looks like this was one of those robot enemies that I mentioned. And I guess those guys drop scrap when you end up taking them out. So, nav 3 to room 2. Sometimes the little, the lines make it difficult. I'm going to see if anything comes in from whatever room is past door 12. And if so, then I'll herd it off into room 4 and turn the defenses on again, but nothing's coming. Well, first of all, gather. And Brendan had a bit of an issue getting past Ethan there for a second. Nav 1 to room 5, and gather again. Sorry, gather all. Yeah, apparently it considers fuel points a higher priority than scrap laying on the floor. I did get another propulsion fuel, though. Nav 1 to R4, gather. And then nav 1 to R5. And then once it's in room 5, I'll drop another motion scan as a just in case, because one infestation type doesn't necessarily mean there's only one enemy on the ship. So, nav 3 to R5, pop open door 12, and then I'll grab Ethan myself. Damn it. Alright, rather than... Well, I suppose I don't really need to. Alright, first dock A2. And then, since room 6 is safe, I can just move Brendan myself without worrying about... Oh yeah, there's Colin, another drone. What did he have on him? He has a lure that has an exclamation point and is yellow because it is very high failure probability. A lure is a thing where organic threats, you drop a lure and then they'll be drawn to it, which I don't think would have worked for the enemy that's in this ship, because I think that was considered a... There's another door down there. I did not realize that. Alright, so... navigate 3 to R6, tow. Navigate 3 to R1. So he'll go off doing that. Give me another motion scan. Whatever's past 4 is safe. Open up... Oh, A2. open up door 15, navigate to R3, and activate that generator. And hopefully this will power the other half of the ship. Okay, so D4 is safe. And I'm going to pull you back here, drop the towing, and use Ethan to find out what's in this room. More scrap. Can I swap? I can swap. Alright, so Ethan is now going to gather a bit. And then D4. Let's see if anything comes out of D5. Which, this is one of those moments where you have to play a bit of the waiting game. Ooh, there we go. So whatever was in room 8 is now in room 9. I'm going to... I'm going to try something risky. Okay, there's nothing in that room. So, what can I do here? I suppose I might... Oh, it's... You get the motion sensors are adjacent by doorways, apparently. But anyway, it actually looks like I'm past my time limit here. So I am going to cut this video here and continue exploring... What the hell ship am I on? It doesn't even say. So I'm going to continue exploring this in the next video. So as always, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.